G'day YouTubers, I'm making a video response to Christschool over here, who made a video about screams, slaps and love, which is an old school article that was in the paper. I don't know where it was, but it's really old school. But you can have a look at the link. Oops, link there. And it's so old school here because look at what they say. A special form of schizophrenia called autism. Haha, lol, psychiatry noobs. Anyway, that article got me thinking, and I wanted to ask some questions, and I hope these questions don't offend, by the way, about children and about autism, and the best people to ask are autistic parents, because they have experience. I have neither of these. This is why I think my questions might offend, because I'm not a parent and I haven't been diagnosed with autism. Okay, let's go. Yeah, so I read this article, this like new treatment for autism, or as they called it, the far gone mentally crippled. It's basically based on operant conditioning. You know, like if you reward desired behaviours, they'll do that behaviour again. If you punish undesired behaviour, they'll do that behaviour less. So that's the basic principle. And the punishments are pretty harsh in here, like yelling in the kid's face. What else did they do? This electric shock kind of thing. And as I was reading this article, until the last 2 pages, the punishments were basically for not learning how to talk or something like that. Actually, it's even worse than learning not to talk. It's for their repetitive behaviours. Staring at their hand received an electric shock. Read the article. It's pretty shocking, I guess. Don't mind the pun. They called it trying to break down the pattern of madness. Yeah, madness. I think the article in the therapy is based on ignorance. I guess it's all in black and white. There's my ignorance of when the time was, but it seems to be when the behaviourist psychology was popular, looking at only observable actions, and we can't measure what's going on in the mind, so we won't worry about it. Now, what I really want to talk about is the last 2 pages, where they described Billy's behaviour. The parents were distraught, or the mother really. He was ripping up clothes, pissing all over the mother's clothes, and like ripping up the house, making a mess. And what they were describing seemed like not a very nice kid to live with. And I've read this kind of a description of kids before, and they make it sound like the kid is basically sadistic. They enjoy putting other people in pain, I guess. And I've nicknamed this type of a personality kid the devil kid, because that's what they seem to describe, a little devil. I've seen them or read about people associating the devil kid with autism, basically. Another thing that's commonly associated with autism is temper tantrums. If you see a video by the charity Autism Speaks, do they really speak for autism though? Anyway, they made a video showing how bad autism is, and what they showed is kids having these temper tantrums. Can't talk there. This video seemed to be implying that temper tantrums are symptomatic of autism, but actually if you go to the diagnostic criteria for 299.00 autistic disorder in the DSM-IV, or 4, someone corrected me on that, I like to say IV for Roman numerals, I cannot find a single point about either being a devil kid or having temper tantrums. But really, telling stories about kids behaving badly like this elicits a lot of sympathy from people who might be donating some monetary stuff over. And I guess, I don't know, I don't really feel sorry for kids who like to have repetitive motor mannerisms, like all the flapping and stuff. They can do what they want. I don't care if they're preoccupied with parts of objects. I don't care if they're obsessed with one particular subject. Cough neurons! Seriously, whatever makes them happy. If they want to sit around for 5 hours rocking back and forth, sit back for 5 hours rocking back and forth. But if they're rocking back and forwards for 5 hours because they're anxious, now that's a problem, and the anxiety needs to be fixed. I want to know, is being a devil kid actually caused by autism? It's not a diagnostic criteria, so I don't quite think so. Parents with autistic kids, have you got devil kids? I haven't really seen any on YouTube, I guess. I don't really understand what it's like to be a parent. I mean, okay, I'm going to have to tell you the truth. And if I had a kid like this, I'd be living in fear, actually. Because I wouldn't want to, like, hit them back or anything. And I'd be thinking, I'll put him in an institution. Like, it sounds so mean, but I can't help it. It's the way I feel. I mean, there's either, like, some people are going to be bad off in the situation. Yeah. Like, what would you do if you had a kid like that? And when I read about non-compliance, like for ABA therapy, they say we reward the good behaviour, punish non-compliance if necessary, and I assume non-compliance means this kind of devil behaviour, but non-compliance means not following orders, which most kids aren't really good at anyway. Big deal. Why do we have, like, sometimes I wonder if people have a bit of a power trip and they like to boss people around. Well, that's what I used to think about when I was a kid. Some stats would be awesome. Compare the average number of temper tantrums an autistic kid has versus a neurotypical kid, like, you know, over a certain population. Would be nice to know. One of this is to find out if autism is the cause. Depends how good we are at manipulating other experimental variables, which is a bit hard. And I'm guessing this kind of research has been done, and I just need to look it up. But I reckon that autism does increase temper tantrums. I don't know about devil kids, but it's pretty frustrating when you can't talk, and like, how else do you express yourself? And, well, okay, my introspection as a kid, I want things and I want them now, I guess. And it's because things are so important, so central. One specific thing would be so central that my life would revolve around it. And if I don't get that, if I don't, like, do that thing, someone takes that thing away from me, I get hysterical. For example, I was obsessed with the Power Rangers. It's all I wrote about, cared about, drew them, religiously watched the TV show, and sometimes my parents turned it off as punishment, and I'd be in screaming fits. And I remember how upset I was because they took the only thing I liked away from me, which is how I felt back then. So the point is, we can't all be behaviourists. There's always something cognitive going on behind. What is it? And is this actually true for all kids? Because I'm introspecting here. And maybe some kids are just downright bad. Or maybe there is some background issue. Like, when I was reading this article, they mentioned, like, bad marriage and environmental cues. And I was thinking maybe that was the cause for the autism. Maybe it wasn't the cause for the autism, but it was the cause for this bad behaviour. And okay, let's say we take devil kids without worrying about anything to do with autism, is it still right to use tough luck? My first instinct was, it's okay to abuse kids who abuse. So, like, that was my first, thought. Then logic kicked in and said, is it right for a wrong? Do two wrongs make a right? I think that's the saying or whatever. Is that a good idea? I wonder what kind of research is being done on, these kind of kids anyway. What's the best way to go about it? And what about if it is tough luck? Tough love. Is it worth it? What happens to these kids when they grow up? Does it actually work? Most importantly, I've said it a million times, why are they behaving like this? I guess is the question. Questions for you guys. First of all, what do you guys think of tough love treatment, such as described in this article, for devil kids? What do you think about devil kids in general, I guess? Do they even exist? I have not seen one in real life. I've seen kids chuck temper tantrums. I've seen kids do that. And I guess each parent copes differently, that can be dealt with. But devil kids, different story. And this is for any neurotypical. People with autistic kids. How are your kids, I guess? Do they do things like this? And if you have autistic kids versus non-autistic kids, how are they? I guess because they're in the same environment, that'll be a good idea to find out from that. Do autistic parents make better parents for their autistic kids? What about autistic parents for their neurotypical kids and neurotypical parents for their autistic kids? Is it possible that there's just a personality difference, as extroverted parents and an introverted kid, for example, they understand each other a little less, yes, I suppose. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and do share your opinions. That would be so awesome and great. Thanks. Good night.